Welcome guys to what is by far the most basic 991 that I have ever tested. This car here really is just a 991 Carrera Coupe with a 3.4 liter engine, and apart from the PDK and the Sport Chrono package, there really aren't any fancy options on this car that are worth mentioning. So I don't have the PASM Porsche Active Suspension Management, I don't have Porsche Torque Vectoring, I don't have the PSE Sports Exhaust from Porsche on this car, and inside here I only have the standard sound system in this car. And I personally really like puristic cars, and if I had told you guys that my next test car will be a rear-wheel driven 991 with PDK, I know you would have expected something even more puristic than a base Carrera. But guys, I take what I get, and I'm happy that I can finish this review season here with another 911 review. And since quite a few people have asked me about such a car here, I think it's going to be great to find out if less is actually more when we talk about the 991. So the few corners I get more body roll with the standard suspension that I would expect from a 911, but it is still a very enjoyable car to drive, very agile. You have two different options that you can go for apart from the standard suspension in the 911. You can go for the PASM and then the car sits 10 millimeters lower, or you can order the PASM Sport suspension, then the car sits 20 millimeters lower. But when you order that, you also have to order the PTV Porsche Torque Vectoring or PTV Plus when the car has the PDKs. And you also have to order 20-inch wheels with this car. And I don't think that many people that buy a base 991 will actually do that. As a daily driver, this car with this suspension is just perfect. Very comfortable, very agile, and you really have to drive this car quite fast to notice the differences between the standard suspension and the PASM. So I've driven this engine in two other cars already this year, in the Carrera 4 Cabriolet and in the Cayman S. And even though this coupe here is give or take 100 kilograms lighter than the Carrera 4 that I tested in March, I still miss low-end torque. But what's quite enjoyable about this engine is the fact that you can really rev it out, and that's something that I couldn't do on public roads with the Turbo S, for example, that I drove a few weeks ago. That car almost felt too fast for the street. Another question that I get quite frequently is what kind of options I would pick for the Porsche 991 if I ordered this car new. And driving this car, I noticed that I really don't like the standard sound system. It doesn't have enough volume and you can't really hear the rear speakers while driving. So do yourself a favor and go for the Bose sound system. These are the Sport Plus seats here. I've talked about them in the Cayman S review. I really like them. Better than the standard seats. They have superb support thanks to these bolsters up here. They are really nice. On the driving front, well, if you order a car with the PDK, go for the Sport Chrono package, because when you sell this car, that's something that people that buy a second-hand 991 will look for, that the car has the Sport Chrono package, because only with the Sport Chrono package you get the launch control function, and that's something that people look forward to when they drive a 991 with PDK. So apart from that, well, the sports exhaust really does make a big difference in my opinion. So I would order that too. and because I like to drive a little bit more sporty, I would also go for the PASM suspension. Even though people say you can't really use the sport setting on the road, for me that's not true. I would have enjoyed it quite a few times doing this test if this car would have been equipped with it, so really go for the PASM too. It's a nice option. Apart from that, there really isn't anything that I would recommend you to go for. But I can tell you one thing: if you spend the extra money on Porsche options, you always get quite a lot of value for the money that you spend, and that's different in comparison to other sports cars and other car makers. One thing that I have never mentioned in my 911 reviews is the fact that I enjoy driving these cars because they are simply the most socially acceptable sports cars that you can drive here in Germany. And I had a few bad experiences driving expensive sports cars here in Germany, but with the 911, I think because this car has been around for so many years now, so 50 years, that every generation, if you want to say so, has its own 911. And it seems like German people really relate to that. It has been a dream car for many people for so many years that you really feel that when you drive with this car, and you see the reactions from people are much more positive than with other sports cars that I have tested in the past. And this color here, which I believe is called Mahogany Metallic, really works well too. I think it's my new favorite color, and especially females seem to be very attracted to it. So in the end, the 911 for me is just pure perfection. There's no other car that inspires my confidence like the 911. There's no other car that involves me into the driving like a 911. And there's no other car that makes me want to become a better driver like a 911. So in the end, it doesn't really matter if I drive a base Carrera or a fully loaded Turbo S. My conclusion is always the same. After driving a 911, every other car feels like a compromise.